One of the most terrifying calls police respond to isn't a shooting, it isn't a robbery. It's a simple request that sounds harmless on paper, a welfare check. Because sometimes the scariest cases don't begin with screams. They begin with silence. On November 6th in Las Vegas, someone notices a resident hasn't been heard from in 2 weeks. Neighbors report suspicious activity, her pets are behaving oddly. And when staff call her phone, someone answers, but says nothing. Officers arrive expecting a routine check. Instead, they walk into a home where nothing makes sense, a man who can't keep his story straight. And a discovery that turns a missing person concern into a major homicide investigation. The missing resident is 68-year-old Mon'nique Gilbertson, living in a 55-plus community. According to staff, Mon'nique was normally consistent, reachable, responsive, and connected to the community. But now, for 2 weeks, no one can confirm she's okay. The employee who calls 911 explains the warning signs. The last time Mon'nique contacted the office was October 22nd. Staff knocked repeatedly, but got no real response. Her dogs were acting distressed. And a phone call was answered only for the line to go silent and hang up. There's another detail that raises urgency. Mon'nique had previously reported a roommate issue and had reportedly found a gun among someone's belongings. That's enough for officers to move quickly. Because when an elderly resident disappears suddenly, the clock matters. Officers arrive and approach the home. Almost immediately, they encounter a man inside, Daniel Rowe, 37, who also calls himself Jacine. He appears startled. He tries to act casual. But the officers are focused on one question: where's Mon'nique? Daniel gives an answer that doesn't land. First he says he rents the place. Then he says he's house sitting. Then he says Mon'nique left town. But there's a problem. Mon'nique's car is still there. And staff have no record of Daniel living at the home. Within minutes, officers can feel it. This isn't normal. When someone is truly house-sitting, they cooperate. They help police confirm the resident is safe. Daniel does the opposite. He argues. He delays. He resists stepping outside. And the more he talks, the more his story shifts. Officers push for details. How do you contact her? Where did she go? When did you last speak with her? What number did she call from? Daniel answers like someone trying to build a story while speaking. He claims Mon'nique lost her phone. He claims she called from a friend's phone. He says she had an emergency on the East Coast, but can't say where. Then comes another inconsistency. Staff says Mon'nique never goes anywhere without her dogs. But her dogs are still here. At one point, Daniel claims his wife is also inside. Officers order both to step out so they can confirm whether Mon'nique is inside the home. Daniel keeps trying to negotiate. He wants to stay inside. He wants to move around. He wants to grab items. Officers don't let him. Because to them, his behavior isn't just uncooperative. It's defensive in a way that suggests he's trying to control what they see. And police don't like controlled scenes. As officers continue, more context starts to form. Daniel did know Mon'nique reportedly only for a few months. The connection began after meeting in a public place. Mon'nique later allowed Daniel to stay in exchange for help around the home. But the arrangement didn't last peacefully. Tension reportedly grew over cleanliness, conflict, and suspected theft. Text messages, according to investigators, indicated Mon'nique was trying to push him out. And that's when this stopped sounding like house-sitting. It starts sounding like someone refusing to leave. Officers don't have the full story yet. But they can feel that Mon'nique's home has become a contested space. And that Daniel is standing between them and the truth. Eventually, Daniel and his wife Gina Lopez step outside. Officers enter to clear the residence. Inside, they find a scene that immediately raises concern. The home is in disarray. There are signs of neglect. There are strong odors that suggest something has been wrong for some time. And there are indicators of drug use. Police search for Mon'nique. Room by room, they confirm the same thing. She is not visible. She is not responding. There is no normal sign that she simply left town. At this point, officers prepare to leave and continue the investigation through other routes. Until they notice something that stops them cold. A large freezer. Not unusual by itself, but the circumstances around it are. It appears secured in a way that draws attention. And officers trained by experience recognize a smell that tells them they can't ignore it. They call for help to open it. And while they do, Daniel begins to panic. That reaction matters. Because innocent people don't usually panic at a welfare check. When the freezer is opened, officers confirm what they feared. Mon'nique Gilbertson is found inside. At that moment, the welfare check becomes a crime scene. Officers immediately move to secure the suspects. Daniel and Gina are placed into custody. And the entire case shifts into a homicide investigation. This is where the story becomes less about where is she and more about what happened in this home over the last 2 weeks. While the community wondered why she went silent, in the beginning, Daniel offers a version of events meant to reduce blame. He claims he found Monnique unresponsive, with evidence of drug use nearby. He says he panicked. He says he didn't know what to do, but investigators don't rely on panic stories. They rely on evidence. And the medical findings, according to prosecutors, did not support a simple accidental scenario. Toxicology results indicated a massive amount of fentanyl in Monnique's system, far beyond what investigators consider consistent with an accidental exposure. That finding changes the theory completely, because it suggests intent, not confusion. And at some point, Gina reportedly provides investigators with her version of what really happened, information that leads prosecutors to argue this wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate act tied to conflict over the home and Monnique's decision to remove them from her life and her property. Prosecutors allege a clear escalation. Monnique believed Daniel and Gina were stealing from her. Arguments increased. The relationship in the home became unstable, and Monnique tried to force them out. To the prosecution, that's the turning point. Because when a person sees a home as a prize, and sees the homeowner as an obstacle, the situation becomes dangerous fast. Investigators allege Daniel responded by administering a fatal amount of fentanyl, attempting to gain control. The case remains ongoing, and charges reflect the seriousness. Murder-related charges for Daniel, abuse of an older or vulnerable person, drug-related felonies, and additional charges for Gina, including burglary and possession-related counts. Daniel faces the possibility of a life sentence. This case hits differently for one reason. It didn't start with violence that neighbors could hear clearly. It started with absence, a woman not answering calls, a community noticing, staff refusing to ignore the signs, and officers arriving before the truth disappeared forever. If there's a lesson here, it's this. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is take your instincts seriously. If a person suddenly vanishes from their normal routines, especially an older adult, silence should never be treated as probably fine. Mon'nique Gilbertson was not just a name on a call sheet. She was a resident, a neighbor, a person who deserved safety in her own home. And while the legal process continues, the story remains a chilling reminder. Some of the darkest crimes don't begin with a scream. They begin with a door that doesn't open, and someone inside who shouldn't be there. If this story moved you, remember that behind every statistic is a human being who once laughed, loved, and dreamed. Thank you for watching. If you want more real cases told respectfully, clearly, and without sensationalism, subscribe to the channel. This is true crime and scam stories, where every story has a heartbeat.